Hey, here I am, Maddie. Moreover, this one, if you ever have an intention either to retire early and to create true wealth and achieve freedom in your life, this is the session for you because I'm going to unpack and reveal what no one shared anywhere. No one shared anywhere and what's going on wrong in your equation or in your wealth creation journey that makes you to stay stuck and working all the time. This is what I'm going to really unpack today, so stay tuned until the end. This is going to really blow your mind. Are you ready for that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in, without any fluff, without wasting our time, I'm going to bring in a specific equation. What I'm not only teaching you, not only sharing you, but also I started applying that in my life for the past 4 years, and followed by that, the result you may or may not know, I was able to retire from my 23 years of non-stop working and retired in 10 months time by November 16th, 2021. When I started applying this by February 2021, by November 16, 2021, I retired from my job, which I was there for 23 years. And not only retired, I helped my wife also to retire from her job. And followed by that, now we are living our dreamful life with our family and traveling around the world, not only in Australia, but also around the world for the past more than 20 months with family and living our dreamful life as a present parent. So, here it is for you, the equation nobody talks about, because everyone talks about wealth creation, but in between what's happening, in between your wealth creation journey, what's happening, that is what exactly I'm going to unpack so that you can very well resonate. Are you ready for it? So let's go, dive in. This is the equation, okay? So I think for you and for you it is inverted, but for you it is straight. Yeah, as you can see, yes, of course, once after you study in a job, study in a school or a university, you straight away start to work. And once after you work, you want to make money, and with the money you want to create an asset, and with the asset you want to achieve the wealth, and yes, exactly, of course, the freedom of life. Yeah, this is your wealth creation journey towards living the freedom of life. Am I right? In between you want to early retire. Yeah, okay, so you are going through the journey. You may know this. Okay, now Maddie, what's wrong in it? Okay, there's nothing wrong in it. I'm not saying it is wrong. It is absolutely the right way method. It's absolutely the right way of doing it. But the point is, why we must work for this until 65 to achieve this point? Why we can't optimize, maximize and condense and collapse the time instead of working for 40 years and retire after 65 when we are not physically able to do what we can do now? How we can condense the time and retire in 5 years time or in 10 years time? How we can optimize, maximize and condense our time? That's what I'm going to share, because that's exactly what I have applied in my life, which made me to retire in 10 months time. Are you ready for that? So now, as you can see, you start to work either in your job or in your small business or in your self-employment, and you make money. Yeah, exactly. You make a lot of money or considerable money or whatever the money you're making. And then now your intention is to create an asset. Yeah, get it? Okay. And then by means of creating an asset, you can create the wealth, and that wealth will, by means of creating the wealth, you can able to achieve freedom. Yeah, beautiful. But the problem here is, it's not the problem in this equation. The point is, people are not being educated how to apply these first 3 steps, which are so crucial to achieve these 2 areas. Because most of them get caught here itself. Most of them get caught in the first 3 steps itself. That is what making people to not to reach this point. They create some sort of wealth by relying on here. I will unpack furthermore. And they don't achieve this, and they will achieve it only after retirement. But again, with a lot of depths. Is it resonating to you? Because I am talking to so many 60 plus people who are reaching me through the Facebook ads. You know what they are saying? I don't know when I'm going to pay my mortgage. I don't know. I'm going to retire by 65. I don't know when I'm going to complete my mortgage. This is what. And globally, in US and Australia especially, 50% of the people who are having a mortgage are having a regrets. Do you know that? You may or may not know this. So, but the point here is, your goal is here to achieve the freedom lifestyle, to retire early while creating the wealth. But you are getting caught over here itself because of lack of, I won't say financial literacy, because of lack of knowledge. And also you have been distracted and misled. Exactly the word, the misled. Okay. So now the point here is, what's going on wrong in these first 3 steps? You're working. What we have been told, from the school, you must work hard for the money. Time is money, yeah? That's what you have been told. Oh, Maddie, what's wrong in it? I'll tell you what. You must work hard for the money. And time is money. Let's unpack the time is money. When you say time is money, how many hours a day do you have? Obvious, right? I'm not going to ask you how many hours. Obvious, 24 hours a day. So, only 24 hours a day. How many hours you can work per day? Probably 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. I speak to people, some people are working 16 hours a day. So, you can only work to the stipulated number of hours. Limited hours, capped hours. When the limited hours, when the capped hours, it means what? The money that you make is limited money or capped money. Get it? Get it? So, with the amount of work that you're doing based on time is money, what you're making is a limited capped money saying time is money. Get it? It's not ending here. And if you have been told working hard for money, you must work hard for money. Okay. When you work hard for the money which is getting printed every single day, which is a fiat money, and followed by the fiat money which is getting devalued 3.3% average globally, and you're working hard for the money, what is the point? Get it what I mean? If you ask yourself, how much ever I make money, how much ever I work hard, why I couldn't be able to say, why I'm still struggling? The point is, you're working for the money which is getting devalued every single year. Got the point now? Are you aware about it? So you're working hard with the time is money concept for the money which is getting devalued, and even though you're working hard, what you're making is only limited capped money, because you are trading your limited time. As long as you're trading your time, limited time, what you make is a capped limited money. You know what this type of income is called as? It's called as linear income model. So what you're making here is, by means of working hard, by means of saying time is money, what you're making here is only a linear income. The linear income is capped. It's limited. As long as you're making a linear income which is capped, what you're trying to do now, because of the capped limited linear income, now you're trying to create an asset. Oh, why? What's wrong in it? Yeah? Okay. The point is, because you are making only linear, limited, capped income, the asset that you're going to buy, you can't afford it. Oh yeah, that's what the bank is for. Beautiful. You're right. That's what the bank is for. So you're going to buy a house which is around 400,000, and because you are making only limited, you're going to the bank to buy a house which you can't afford it, and the bank is ready to provide. Why? Because you have a secured job or a secured income which is a capped linear income, and based on that, the bank doesn't have any problem to provide you the bank loan. Yeah, what's wrong in it? I'll tell you. I'm going to unpack to you. Okay, now you buy a house with a loan, with a debt, with a death pledge called as what? Mortgage, for another 30 years by relying on your limited capped linear income. Get it? And you're trying to create an asset. Get it? That's nothing wrong in it. But the problem here is, you are relying on this. When you are not working hard, when you stop working hard, what happens? But not a cash flow. Get you what I mean? Again, I repeat. Let this sink in deeply into you. What you are making by working hard with the time is money and working hard for money concept, what you're making is just earning, limited capped earning, linear income, but it is not a cash flow. That is what the reason why you can't afford to buy an asset with the cash. Rather, you are relying on the bank to provide you the loan or the debt to get by relying on this to get an asset. Oh, yeah, Maddie, that is what is called as good debt. Come on. Don't go to the extent. Yes, it is a good debt, but the problem here is, I'm going to unpack. You go and buy a house by relying on the loan with a good debt. Yes, the bank is providing you, either you deposit 10% or 5% or 20% or 30%, whatever it is. Beautiful. Get it? Now you bought the house. After you buy the house, I'm not saying wrong in it, but the problem here is, yes, it is a good debt. It could be a good debt. That's what the real estate brokers, mortgage brokers, financial advisors, the bank advisors say. Come on, get the loan. Why you are spending money in the rental house? You don't need to spend the money in the rental house. Rather, you can just buy a house in 10 or 20, 30, 40 years time. It could become your asset. Yeah, beautiful, right? But the problem here is, this asset you're buying with an interest. There's nothing wrong. But here, what you're getting is only a capped income, which is a limited linear income. The moment you stop working, there is no cash flow to pay this one. So when this one is depending on this earning instead of cash flow, how will you achieve this? How will you achieve the freedom? How will you proceed furthermore? Because the moment you stop working, since there is no cash flow, eventually you can't even go further ahead. And moreover, what the real estate people say, once you bought the house, this is what the problem, exactly the problem starts. Yes, it is a good debt. I don't disagree with that. You buy the house, and then once after you buy the house with the mortgage, after 3-4 years, or even after two years, that's where the real estate brokers, the bank will advise, oh, come on, Maddie, you are paying the mortgage beautifully. You are such an amazing customer for us. Okay, so you are having a good serviceability. Your earning is good, and also the house that you bought, which is a mortgage house which you are living, has gone up the price now. Why can't you refinance? Why can't you refinance and get the refinance? And if you want, you can further invest either in the other house or another whatever the property, or you can go for a vacation somewhere. You can go and buy some toys for you, blah blah blah. What you end up in doing now? You end up in refinancing your mortgaged house for the price which is equivalent to the current market price. So now, the moment you refinance the mortgage, I repeat again, the moment you refinance a mortgage, the death pledge, to buy another property, that good debt eventually becomes a bad debt. Why? This is exactly where the wealthy people differentiate from the normal 97% of people. The reason because the 3% of wealthy people, they completely flip this concept. It means they don't work for money. They don't work hard for money. They don't rely on time is money concept, because for them, for the 3% of wealthy people, time is not money, time is life. Get this? So, because they are not working hard for money, because they are for them time is not money, they end up in making the money to work for them. Come on, listen to this. Come on. Pay attention here. And followed by that, you know what? They don't make capped limited linear income, because they don't trade their time for money. Rather, they make the money to work hard for them. Followed by that, they make an uncapped leveraged income. Ta-da! What you are making is a capped linear income. The income will come only when you work. But for the 3% of wealthy people, they make cash flow, which is a leverage, which is uncapped cash flow, leverage income, irrespective of whether they are present or not, because they don't trade time for money. Get it? So they make uncapped cash flow. So now because you're making only in earning capped linear income, you have to work all the time, because you get caught up here itself. You are trying to create only this. You're trying to pay the debt alone, and you end up in going for another debt. Debt over debt is exactly what the system has created to keep you here. Get it? The system is successfully being created to keep you broke, to stay just over broke here. So you will be in a loop. Work for money, make your money, pay the bills, pay the interest, pay the loan, and then work again. So you will be in the same loop over and over and again. And in between, the real estate will come and say, the real estate brokers or financial people say, oh, you have to create another asset, so you can get the refinancing based on the current market price. Oh, that is how many people are creating. Yeah, that is how the 97% of people are trapped. I'm just being very honest here. I'm speaking to people who are 60 plus and 65. You know what? They're having 3 or 4 investment properties, but they don't have the peace of mind at all. The regrets they shared with me, it's the next story. I'm not going to share with you. The pain of life, the pain of regrets, the life that they missed for so long without being with their family, without being with their kids. Come on. I'm just going to ask you this. Anyway, it's out of the topic, but I'm going to ask you this. Does your kids, drop in the comment below, does your kids require your presence, physical presence, mental presence, or present? And moreover, the society is so well framed to make you to buy as a consumer the asset to look rich but not being rich. This is another very important thing. to look rich, not being rich. Even I was a victim in that too. But I learned it. I learned how to escape out of it. For example, you are buying a house which is thinking that you are creating an asset, but actually it is a liability. That's a different story. You're buying a house. The house which could be value of 400,000 or 500,000, yeah, which you can't afford it. You're buying with a mortgage, yeah. And then on top of the house, you each and everything for the brick, for the facade, you are spending at least around 15,000, right? For the house that you're getting with the mortgage, which you can't afford, but you are thinking, oh, this facade should look like this. So what you're showing up there, you're showing up to look rich, but not being rich. So you're getting caught up here itself. You are thinking that you are creating an asset, but the system is making you to create a liability to work all through your life for the capped money. You are trapped in this loop itself. How you can create furthermore? And people say that if you buy the real estate broker says that if you buy a property in another 10 years, another 20 years, you may get wealthy. You may get wealthy. Come on, because the money is getting devalued. You don't know this, right? You know this already. But what is the life in the 10 years? What is the life in the 20 years? Is your kids going to be the same age? You know that. You always say that the kids growing up fast. Don't you miss the moments? Don't you miss the memories? Don't you miss the events? Don't you miss their birthdays? And the most thing which is making me restless is it is your anniversary, it is your daughter's or son's birthday, but you're not being with them, you're not being together. I can't accept, I refuse to accept that. I refuse to settle for not being with them. That is why what I did is I truly escaped out of it. It's a different story again. To escape this tabbed linear income, to start making a leverage income. So before thinking this to this extent, because many people are asking, I want to make passive income, I want to be financially free. Yeah, I want to retire early. I want to make passive income. I want to be financially free. I want to create wealth. Without correcting the base, which is this one, how can you do this? How can you reach this? There is no shortcut here. As long as you are relying only on the linear income, which is a capped income, by working hard for money, time is money, you can't reach at all here. I'm telling you, it is not possible. That is not how the 3% of people are creating their wealth and achieving their freedom. How much ever you try to, there is absolutely no shortcut. The real estate broker, the financial broker, the bank advisors say what the system says to you, and you end up in believing that shit and stay stuck as the 97% of people, and you retire only by the age of 65 with so much of debts. And there is a proof for me. There are so many people in my applications. System, you can't escape out of it unless you correct this first two. You don't need to work hard for money. You're not born here to work hard. You're not born here to hustle and grind. The money is just created 5,000 years ago. That's a different story. I'm not going to share with you here. But you must know how to be smart by leveraging a business which has got a system and an automation in place. A means of that, you have to get to know what the 3% are doing. How the 3% are not working. How the 3% are making wealthy. How the 3% are becoming financially free. How the 3% are making the money to work for them. What kind of mindset is that? What kind of skill set is that? That is what you must mimic. That is what exactly you must learn. And the moment you learn, that is where your day, your life begins. And that is where you tend to achieve time freedom. That is a formula, guys. So the formula is the same, but 97% of the people stay over here itself. They achieve this one or may achieve this one only after 65. That is not called as life. That is not called as life. So if you want to retire early, and if you want to know how exactly retired early, is nothing but I just went deep in these 3 areas. And that is how I can able to retire my work in 10 months time, just 3.5 years before. November 16, 2021, I retired from my 23 years of job. I started making a leverage, uncapped leverage income now as a 5-figure earner. So that I'm creating a profile in such a way, by means of investing into the right business, I'm creating a profile in such a way to create an asset without relying on the bank. Get it? Without relying on the bank. By paying it outright. It is possible. It's not a dream. It's just possible. And instead of waiting for this to create, I'm already living by means of me having having a business which is where I'm leveraging the system and automation, I already achieve the freedom in terms of time by being with the family every single day as a present parent, living my dreamful life, not waiting until 40 years, until 65 to achieve this now itself without compromising. Of course, there are some temporary challenges. Of course, there are some temporary setbacks. That's it. If you understand this, ta-da, you can also retire early. For this, to some extent, yeah. So don't just stay stuck in a loop over here itself, thinking you are creating an asset. Absolutely, you are not creating an asset at all. As long as you are refinancing your home or investment property, you are looping around here itself, and you can't retire early at any stage in your life, and you will end up in working for your capped linear income until 65 years. And that too, I'm telling you a few things. In last 20 years time, the amount of work a couple has to do raised from 38 hours a week to now 120 hours a week, statistics says. And in the next 5 years time, it is going to raise from 120 hours to 160 hours a week. It means that in your family, you must have 4 full-time jobs. That is the life in that. You're already working ridiculous hours, right? Now, two of you, you and your wife, or you and your husband, or you and your partner is going to work 2 full-time jobs each one of you. Are you living to work or working to live? Is it called as life? Come on. Enough of that BS. It's time now to educate yourself and to escape out of the loop over here, to proceed towards here without wasting your time, because the time is one of the most valuable assets. That is what exactly the 3% wealthy people protect their time instead of protecting their money. Get it? Whereas the 97% of the people protect their money, save their money by trading their time without valuing their time, thinking that they are creating an asset, but they are creating a liability. That is what exactly the system wants you to believe, and based on the limiting belief, you are staying stuck in where you are by working hard for the money, thinking you are creating an asset, thinking you are creating a generation wealth. It is not. Absolutely it is not. So it's time now to escape out of the matrix. It's time now to escape out of the system and learn from the people who have gone through the journey, achieve the results. Only if you're open and coachable, just go through that. Reach them, learn from them, ask them how they did it. Live your life to the fullest, because you deserve it. I believe in you more than you believe in yourself. Live your life to the fullest. We succeed together. Cheers.